Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Suburban Rifleman. It's once again time for bear camp. This is opening morning, Saturday morning, the Saturday before Thanksgiving 2025. And once again, we are up on state game lands in Tioga County, Pennsylvania. We're up on Rattler Mountain state game lands. One of the guys in our crew who lives up here had to drive his wife to work this morning, so we've only got 6 guys on this drive, and it's a relatively narrow one. Obviously, I'm one of the standers. Fingers crossed, we'll see. I didn't bring my .35 Remington with me this year. I brought a different Remington cartridge. I've got Uncle George's model, Remington Model 788 in 6mm Remington. Those of you who are subscribed to the channel may have seen my earlier videos about this particular rifle. George lent this rifle to my dad for me to use when I was 12 years old, so that would be 40-something years ago, and I used it as my deer rifle the first 2 years. I deer hunted with my dad, and I don't think it's been in the woods in the intervening time. I think the first time it was shot was this summer. That's probably the first time anybody pulled a trigger on this rifle since 1981 or something. So it still shoots great, and I've got a 3-9 by 40 Loophole Vari-X 2 on here. So sort of a vintage scope for a vintage rifle. So I better shut my mouth and start paying attention. Talk to you later. So there were 7 shots at quite a distance away. But then there were 3 shots in pretty rapid succession, much closer. I think still outside our drive, but it rained all night, and it would appear that the bear are moving around, so it's a good sign. We'll see how it goes. So nothing was seen on the first drive. We're now set up for the second drive. I'm a stander again, and I had to scramble up here on top of there's these big tall mounds. I don't know what they are from. They're some kind of leftover excavation from a long time ago. They've got trees and everything growing on top of them, but this area is just a bunch of weird mounds, and I had to scramble up on top, and I'm looking down into a little bowl here. I'm gonna guess I wouldn't have a shot of more than maybe 75 yards, so I've changed tactics a little bit since I needed both hands to climb up here. So I got my Smith & Wesson Model 629 with 240 grain jacketed soft points, and I can keep 6 shots on a 5-inch paper plate at that range, so we should be good to go. There are at least 3 gray squirrels that just do not care that I'm here. That doesn't bother me too much. They drive you nuts when they're sitting there screaming at you, but these just couldn't seem to be bothered. Okay, so this is drive number 4. Number 3 wasn't really all that eventful or exciting. I just waded here through this little sphagnum bog over here. It's a pretty long walk in here, and the drivers are going to be coming down from over here to my right, and in front of me there's a slope over here, which I won't be able to show you on camera. It's too heavily wooded, but there's a slope that comes right down into this bog, and then there's a creek at my back. We've got 2 standers off to my left, and one more guy up to the right. So we've got this piece of property stood off pretty good, but so far, all I've seen is 4 squirrels. Apparently, there were a couple of 3 deer that I should have seen on the last drive, which somehow escaped me. I think they went around behind me, and I just didn't hear them. But it's not deer season, so it doesn't really matter. At least it wasn't a bear. So now it's just early afternoon, and we've left from the state game lands, and we're on private land. This is a tree farm that we have permission to hunt, and there's a few ladder stands in here, so I'm up in a tree stand. You can see I'm up at higher elevation. We got a nice view over here of farmland, but the drivers are actually going to be coming from this direction through these conifer trees. Some kind of pine. They're not hemlock, but I maybe should have brought my rifle. I still have the 44 Magnum with me now. I didn't realize I was going to be up in a tree stand, though. Maybe I should have brought my rifle. Anyway, we'll see if we see a bear or at least something this time. So one lone doe. Some other guys have seen a few doe and a 4-pointer and a 7-pointer. I just saw the one doe, but at least I got it on video. I also saw a grouse came flying through these pines and landed on the ground over there, but it was too fast for me to get my phone out. But there's a coyote skirting around here. He's just out of range. I could shoot him if he came in closer. I don't know if you'll be able to see him on camera, even at 3 power. If I can boost it up to 12 and find him. Gosh dang it. That coyote was coming right down this trail here, and he got to about where that log is right there. And I was going to try to get the 44 out because I thought he was going to come right under the stand. And he must have winded me. And he stopped dead right there. and then skirted around this way, which was the video I got. Hopefully you'll be able to see him a little bit. Holy shit, boys. There was just a rifle shot. So we might have a bear down. That was definitely on the property here. It was definitely one of our boys that shot, so. And I haven't heard a second shot. I gotta keep my eyes skinned now. I will check back in a bit. So that shot that I heard was actually, I don't know if it was the coyote I saw, because it didn't seem to be coming from the same direction, but it was a coyote. So we should get some nice up close look at a coyote, except it was shot with a 300 Win Mag, so I don't know how much will be left of it, but we'll check that out later, guys. So no bear so far, but we do have one coyote here, and I think it's the same one I had on video, but I'm not sure. I thought that one looked bigger than this, but another one of the guys saw another big coyote, so at least we had a little bit of action. I saw one doe, and other guys saw a bunch of deer, at least 10 doe, and I think 4 buck. So afternoon's shaping up. Okay, so this is the last drive of the day. You can see the sun's right in my face. It's quite low. It's about 4 o'clock. So we're putting on one more drive. We're on a different piece of private property. This is a lease that our guys have. And it's up near one of these gas well pads. So I don't know if this is going to top that drive, but we'll see. So it's first thing. Day 2 of bear camp. We're up on public land today. It's Sunday. And a couple of years ago, Pennsylvania opened up Sunday to hunting. Traditionally, off the old Quaker blue laws. In Pennsylvania, we didn't have any Sunday hunting. So you can hunt on Sunday now for certain days of certain seasons. And but you can only hunt on public land. Unless you're a landowner, you can't hunt on private land on Sunday. So we're up on, yesterday we hunted some public land, some state game lands. Today we're hunting in the state forest land. And we saw a fair number of trucks coming in here, but we're pretty far in now. And we're going to be standing off the edge of an old clear cut you can see behind me. This was clear cut maybe 15 years ago, and so now it's really thick up here. Actually, what's in front of me, I'll cut in a clip of that, is much, much thicker than what's behind me here. The drivers are really going to have their work cut out for them. It's probably going to take them about an hour to drive this patch off. So anyway, I better get in position and shut up because the drive's going to be starting soon. And this is a pretty substantial drive. It's probably going to take about an hour or so. I'll keep you up to date. So, nothing worth videoing on that drive. A grazed squirrel and a couple of nuthatches and a couple of chickadees, and that's about it. On to the next drive. So there's plenty of deer sign in here. We've seen plenty of rubs and plenty of scrapes. And one successful hunt, we found Terry's truck keys. I just got the word, apparently a bear was seen. Zach saw a bear right when they started the drive. That was one of the drivers. But no shooting, unfortunately. Going into a spot here on the edge of a big sphagnum bog. This is a spot we've hunted many times. As you can see, it's really dense mountain laurel in here. And now we'll be able to get into this bog. There's a big swamp up ahead there, but I'm going to cut in here. Find a good spot. This sphagnum moss is like walking on it's like walking on a Sealy Posturepedic mattress. If it weren't so wet, it'd be a nice place to lay down and take a nap. Alright, so I'm going to be tucked in right on the edge of this bog here. This gives me a pretty nice 180 degree view, maybe. The drivers will be coming this way. So that's a wrap for Bear Camp 2025, at least for me. I had to bug out early and get home so I could get back to work. A few of the guys are going to be out a couple of more days, today and Tuesday, before they have to get home for Thanksgiving. All in all, it was more eventful than Bear Camp 2024, which was absolutely uneventful. Nobody saw anything. I think maybe a couple of deer were seen last year, but this year, in just one drive, we saw either 2 or 3 coyotes, 14 deer. Yesterday morning, I think one of the guys got a glimpse of a bear, although it was too brief to get, and maybe too distant to get a shot off. But this year was much more eventful. Hopefully next year will be even better. But once again, I hate to beat a dead horse, and I know I've talked about this before, but Pennsylvania bear hunting is probably the most difficult black bear hunting in North America. Almost any other state and Canada, you can either bait bear, or I think some places you can still use dogs to bay bear. Those are much more effective than the method we use here, which is just covering tons and tons of ground, properly hunting bear, driving them with guys. You need a big crew, which we never have. I think we had a maximum of 7 people this year. Sometimes we have as many as 8 people. But it's just a lot of work, and it's generally not very productive unless, again, you have a huge crew. Some of these camps, they stack guys in the cabin like cordwood. They've got 20 or 30 guys out there to put on a drive, and they're much more successful than we have been traditionally. But it's still a lot of fun. For me, it's as much about hunting. Of course, we always want to get a bear, but for me, it's just as much as it is about hunting. It is about camaraderie and fellowship. There's several friends of mine who I consider to be really good friends, and this is really the only time of year I get to see them. And it's great to be able to maintain those friendships and spend time strategizing and playing games after hunting and doing all that sort of stuff. So we're going to keep doing it as long as we can, and sooner or later we will get a bear. When we do, I'm going to try to get it on video, and when I post that up, I hope to see each of you here then. Later, guys.